The Nameless Tomb. This is the largest human transformation field in the entire southern part of the empire. There are tens of thousands of graves, all buried by unknown people. A house surrounded by tens of thousands of graves. Lonely, desolate. Sitting in the house alone, eating quietly. His whole body was covered in a cloak, and he could not see his face, only a pair of dark eyes, like a faint flame. All over the body, only one of his hands was exposed, but he also wore thin gloves. His name is Ying-Ke. No one knows where he came from. He is the burial master of this huge cemetery. The door was opened, and several strong men walked in carrying 3 coffins. I've come to live, all of them just died today. Then these few people left in a hurry, avoiding wins and losses like snakes and scorpions. Ying-Ke looked at the rice in the bowl, and there were only 2 mouthfuls left. After hesitating for a while, he put down the bowl and chopsticks. Don't be in a hurry to eat, it's more important to do business. He stepped forward to open the coffin, and there was a corpse lying in it, very embarrassed. This is a male corpse, with a handsome appearance and a majestic body. Even if it is dead, it is still ferocious and scary. This person died of a stroke, which means he died of a stroke while doing that kind of thing. Ying-Ke went and changed into a pair of film gloves, sorted out the appearance of the male corpse little by little, and put on decent clothes for him. For a full hour, Ying-Ke dressed the male corpse and did makeup. The dead are always not good looking, but after Ying-Ke's makeup, the dead's face is as vivid as if they were alive. After doing all this, Ying-Ke took out a pen. The barrel of the pen is made of white bone, and the tip of the pen is made of hair, which is completely transparent when it is not dipped in ink. There are more than tens of thousands of hairs, and these hairs seem to be alive, they will wriggle, and there is a dreamy streamer inside. Dip ink painting, very serious, extremely focused. For a full hour, Ying-Ke painted a portrait of the male corpse. It is completely unimaginable that a portrait can be so vivid, as if a person is about to come alive from the painting. The picture is complete. Immediately, a ray of light floated out from the corpse and penetrated into Ying-Ke's body. Extract new abilities, XX will not fall. This man's corpse was the leading man in entertainment venues before he died, and he really has a skill. After the portrait was finished, Ying-Ke skinned the corpse. The blade of this white bone pen surpasses any sharp knife, and it flows smoothly without any damage. This process is called skinning. The next step is to dissect the bones, and the action of winning and missing is fast, just like cooking to unravel a cow. In just a few moments, a complete skeleton is dismantled. This process is called bone painting. In the end, there was cramps. The muscles and veins were completely pulled out and placed on the white paper. It seems like a wonderful painting, even full of postmodern aesthetics. This process is called pulse painting. After the whole process is completed, the white bone pen stretched violently, as if the tentacles of a ghost burrowed into the flesh, skeleton, and tendons of the corpse, and devoured it frantically. Immediately, the entire white bone pen lit up with a dazzling light. After swallowing, the corpse turned into ashes. Once the relic at the top of the white bone pen lights up, it means that the 3 skills are complete. 10,000 corpses were fed the white bone pen and reborn in nirvana. Ying-Chu wrote 9995 on the wall. Ying-Ke continued to enter the corpse, leaving 2 corpses, a male corpse and a female corpse. The male corpse was about 50 years old, very handsome and very decadent. He jumped into a river and drowned, holding this black pendant in the shape of a dolphin. The female corpse is as old as dead wood. The corpse of the middle-aged man was entombed, and the portrait was completed. Extract the memory of the deceased. In an instant, a blue light floated out from the male corpse's brain and penetrated into the brain of Ying-Jeo. It's an extremely bizarre memory, what a lingering love, the Titanic in another world? Just a dark version of tragedy. The joys and sorrows of human beings are not the same, and it doesn't matter whether they win or lose. Next, burial for the aged female corpse. It is still an extremely vivid portrait, and it still seems to be coming from a living person from the painting. Extract the skills of the dead. Suddenly, the forehead of this aged female corpse suddenly split open, as if a third eye appeared. Incredibly weird. The eye on the forehead, the blue light is almost white because it condenses so hard. The light condensed to the extreme, and then slammed into Ying Chu's forehead. The extraction ability is successful. Open the eyes of the sky. Winning and missing are horrified. It turned out to be the ability to open the eyes of the sky. Every THREED celestial master who has successfully cultivated is an important weapon of the country. For 15 years, he has extracted countless skills. Some are awesome, some are very tasteless, but at this time, this skill is still shocking. Who was this aged female corpse before her death? As a THREED celestial master, why did he die here? Ying Ke couldn't help but use this ability. Immediately, his forehead was scorching hot, and within his field of vision, he was able to see through layers of matter, see underground minerals and bones, and see dead trees behind walls. Seeing a few treasures buried in the backyard, all the materials show different lights in the field of vision, like a giant X-ray machine. This is the celestial master of the Earth vein system. At dusk, Ying Ke wrote 9997 on the wall and today's work is over. Then, he sat quietly at the door, as if waiting for something. Ying Ke has been here for 15 years. He deals with corpses every day. Since the master left, he has hardly spoken to anyone. Everyone shuns him when they see him, because he is like a ghost. Except for one person, he is the only friend and confidant of Yingko. The sun went down, and there were footsteps and affectionate shouts from outside. Fifth brother, your third brother is here, you're starving. Then a young man walked in. He was incomparably beautiful and stood tall. He is definitely the most beautiful man in a million, even more beautiful than a woman. After coming in, he sat directly opposite Ying Ke, handed over a roast chicken, and poured wine for the two of them. This noble young man, Shensu in white clothes, was also sitting on the dirty and blood-stained ground, drinking and eating meat with Ying Ke. This noble son and Ying Ke don't know each other's names. Ying Q's siblings ranked 5th in the family, and this noble son ranked 3rd in the family. So, one is called the third brother, and the other is called the fifth brother. A jug of wine is finished. The handsome and noble son burst into tears and cried, "Fifth brother, do you know? My beloved woman is married, and the groom is not me." Ying Ke didn't speak, just toasted silently. The handsome young master said again, "I have loved her for more than 10 years, and my family and I fell out because of her. Because of her, I publicly abandoned my new wife at the church wedding and ran away from marriage, wandering the world. It's been 8 years, and I've been away from home for 8 years. It's because she told me that she wanted to find something." After your son finished speaking, he burst into tears. Ying Ke asked, "What?" His voice is also like a ghost, his throat seems to be on fire, which is extremely unpleasant. The handsome and noble son said, "A treasure, something you don't understand." Next, the two of them kept drinking again. Your son got drunk and kept shouting the name of the woman he loved. "Kwei, Kwei. I abandoned the family's glory and wealth and beautiful new wife for you. Why didn't you wait for me? Why did you marry someone else?" He cried and cried. Ying Ke settled him in the room in the back hall, covered him with a quilt, poured warm water, took care of him meticulously, and left. The third brother suddenly grabbed Ying Q's hand and said emotionally, "Fifth brother, for the past few years, you have eaten with me every day, and listened to my complaints. We are not brothers, we are better than brothers." For 5 full years, the third brother has come to deliver meals for Ying Wu every day, and stayed with him every night in this chaotic graveyard. The two talked almost everything and were as close as brothers. Ying Ke said, everyone sees me like a ghost, but the third brother is willing to get close to me. The third brother said, my beloved woman is married. After completing the mission she gave me, how about I stay here with you? I don't want that glorious and wealthy family, and I'm here to live with you. Ying Kai patted the third brother's hand, and said hoarsely, third brother sleep, it won't be so uncomfortable when you fall asleep. The third brother shed tears silently, his emotional pain was intractable. Win and leave. The third brother fell asleep and silently shouted, Kwei, Kwei. Ying Kai staggered, hunched over, opened a secret door on the ground, and went into the basement to sleep. Although he was alive, he also lived underground, like a dead man. His room in the basement is very small, with only a box, a bed, and a mirror. The candle was lit, and the basement was lit. Ying Kai came to the mirror, still hunched over, and took off his cloak. Suddenly, an extremely ugly and terrifying body appeared in the mirror. There was no skin on his body, only red, flesh, and blue veins entwined. Like a ghost. This kind of terrifying thing can only live in the transformation field with corpses as company, otherwise, whether it appears in a village or a town, it will probably be beaten to death as a monster. He was not born like this, but was tragically skinned to death 15 years ago and buried in this nameless tomb. But I don't know why, he who was obviously dead suddenly came back to life one night and crawled out of the tomb. At that time, the person who guarded the nameless tomb was a corpse seaman of the previous generation, a blind old man. Perhaps it was because his heart was dead, or because he had seen too many things, the old man was very calm and pulled out the win. Since then, Ying Kai has become his apprentice, asking him to bury the corpse, teach him to carve a tombstone, and teach him to punch a coffin. The master and the apprentice have lived together for 10 years, but together they speak no more than 3 sentences. 5 years ago, his master disappeared and never came back. As a result, he became the new owner of the unknown tomb, managing tens of thousands of tombs and burying corpses every day. And this white bone pen was passed on to him by the master. Soon after, the third brother of the handsome son came and became a close friend of Ying Kai. In the past 15 years, Ying Kai has buried 9,997 corpses, extracted the soul memory of 4,999 people and the skills of 4,998 people. What skills do you have? Totally innumerable. The first baby from the spy organization of the Great Xia Empire, the mentally retarded Ah Bing, has an unforgettable memory ability against the sky. From a certain gambler, the skill of gambling. There are also famous singers, thieves, prostitutes, hooligans, jugglers and so on. Of these 4,448 skills, most of them have even forgotten about winning and losing, and have hardly used them. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. He attaches the most importance to painting bones, veins, and skins. These 3 skills are the ones that can change one's life against the sky. The so-called martial arts talent is the root bone. The reason why the vast majority of people practice martial arts is slow, because the root is not good. And once you have finished drawing the bones, you can draw whatever root bones you want. The dragon of attack is in the sky, the basalt of defense is in the ground, and the lightning crack of assassination. All are top root bones that are not 1 in a million. Not only can I draw the root bones for myself, but also the root bones for others, and change their lives for others. What is a spirit vein? All spiritual talents such as alchemy, onmyoji, magician, painting, calligraphy, music, etc., are all determined by the spiritual veins. There is no 1 in a million warriors with a top-level root bone, but 1 in a billion with top-level spiritual veins. Spiritual veins are the most brilliant light of civilization. Once you have completed the pulse drawing skill, you can draw the top spiritual pulse talent in the universe for yourself. Not only can you draw the pulse for yourself, but you can also draw the pulse for others. 9 yin profound vessels, 9 yang profound vessels, and chaos divine veins at the peak of the universe. As for the skin painting skills, for wins and losses, it is the most important. After completing this skill, he can paint his skin and become a normal person, leave this nameless tomb, and go to human society to complete his great mission. The white bone pen needs the nourishment of 10,000 corpses to achieve nirvana. In 15 years, 9,997 yin-ke have been completed, and there are still 3 corpses, and you are done. For 15 years, I stayed in this hell, neither human nor ghost. In the distance of freedom, there are only 3 corpses left. Ah, don't kill me, don't kill me. In the middle of the night, Ying-ke was awakened by a nightmare again, countless times. In his nightmares, there is always a person's face, dangerous and domineering. Shen Gong-ao, the peak powerhouse within 1,000 miles. In nightmares, he was flayed to death again and again. Ying-ke is a transmigrator who directly transmigrated to a baby 28 years ago. The other transmigrators were very hard-working, and they struggled hard when they crossed over. But winning and lacking are different, and the reincarnation technology is superb. What he traveled through was the direct son of the Tianese Ying clan. His father was the guardian of the southern border, the Duke of the Empire, Yingzhou. His family owns a territory of 100,000 square kilometers and has ruled Tian Shui province for hundreds of years. He is the youngest son of his parents, and he has 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters. There is no need for him to inherit the family business, his mission in this life is to enjoy glory and wealth. He was very beautiful when he was a child. Although he was a boy, he also had pink makeup, and he was sweet, well-behaved, and mischievous, and everyone loved him. Parents love, elder brother love, elder sister love. Although he was born with very mediocre talents in martial arts and spiritual veins, his family didn't care at all and loved him even more. Father Yingzhou once hugged him and said that our little treasure is blessed, we don't have to work hard in this life, parents will protect him when we are young, and brothers and sisters will protect us when we grow up. In the entire Duke's mansion, and even the entire Tian Shui province, they are all doted on by thousands of people, and they have everything they want, so he almost completely forgot his identity as a traveler. At the age of 12, under the protection of hundreds of family warriors, he began to travel the world, to the desperate land in the north, and the ghost town in the south. After traveling for more than a year, I wrote a thick travel journal. When he returned home, the world that belonged to him completely collapsed. The family's castle, flames soaring into the sky. Countless people were howling, and countless people died. His family, all died. His majestic and luxurious father, loving and beautiful mother, pretending to be serious but loving his elder brother, timid and gentle elder sister, pungent and beautiful second elder sister. The Ying family that ruled the Tian Shui province for 800 years has all died. All the tens of thousands of soldiers loyal to the Ying family died. In order to protect Ying-ke, hundreds of family warriors fought desperately, but they were no match for one person, the supremely strong Shen Gong-ao. This strong man killed hundreds of samurai alone and captured Ying-ke. After a few days in prison, Ying-ke was sentenced to be skinned and tortured. Therefore, Ying-chu, who was only 13 years old, died of skinning in front of everyone's eyes. The body was casually thrown on an ox cart and transported to a nameless tomb hundreds of miles away for burial. These memories are so deep that they can even be dreamed of every night. Ying-ke didn't know what happened to the family. The Ying family has been passed down for nearly 1,000 years and is one of the top nobles in the empire. Not only that, his family and the royal family have been married all the year round and have a close relationship. When Ying-ke left home to travel, the emperor continued to reward him. Why did such a drastic change happen within a year? In the end, the Ying family was charged with treason and collusion with foreigners. And now the Tian Shui province has been occupied by the enemy. The Ying family ruled the fief for 800 years and fell into the claws of the enemy. The Mi family replaced him and became the hegemon of the south. Soon, with 3 more corpses in the burial, he can paint nirvana, have a normal body, and return to human society. Revenge, take back the 800YEAR foundation of the Ying family. Ying Ke looked towards the wall, and above it was his first life and death enemy, Shen Gongao. Shen Gongao, wait for me. The next day, before dawn, the third brother left the tomb of the Nameless, not knowing where he was fooling around. In the morning, someone brought in 2 corpses, and Ying Ke was buried for them. Successful extraction skills, senior carpenter. Gaining new skills, postpartum care for sows. Even if Ying Ke was unsmiling, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Then, he wrote 9999 on the wall. With the last one left before the 10,000 goal, all 3 of his skills are complete. At that time, his whole person will be nirvana. With the appearance of a normal person, he has the innate talent of the root bone that is not 1 in a million, and the talent of spiritual veins that is not 1 in a billion. Then, he can go for revenge. Revenge. Go to Shen Gongao for revenge. At noon, another 3 corpses were brought in. But Ying Ke did not bury them, but buried them directly. In the evening, the third brother of your noble son, who is incomparably beautiful in white clothes and beat the snow, came again. Fifth brother, how many delicacies did the third brother bring to you today, including braised fish lips, boiled cabbage, dragon and phoenix chengxiang, braised bear paws, lamb tofu, and the top famous wine in the empire. Wu Kei took off his gloves and walked out. The 2 brothers sat on the ground again, drinking and eating vegetables, so happy. Brother, the border war is over. Third brother said. Ying Ke said, in the White Horse City, isn't there a winner yet? The third brother said, but the battle is decided in the south. The imperial governor Shen Gongao wiped out the 150,000 army of the Dali kingdom, not only recaptured the 12 cities, but also expanded the empire for hundreds of miles. Great victory! Great victory in the south, and the Dale Yao kingdom and the barbarians in the west did not dare to fight, so they retreated. Ying Ke said, this Shen Gongao is really powerful. In the past 10 years, he has fought countless battles and won hundreds of battles. One person has expanded the empire for thousands of miles and slaughtered hundreds of thousands of enemy countries. More than that, over the past 10 years, the Shen Gong family has expanded the family territory tenfold. From a naturalized retainer of an alien race, he became the top giant in the empire today. Ying Ke said, I heard that this person is extremely skilled in martial arts. Within 1,000 miles, he has no rivals, and he is absolutely unparalleled. The third brother said, yeah, the tyranny is unparalleled, the one who obeys prospers and the one who disobeys perishes. Under the hegemony, everyone trembles. But I disdain him, and I dare to slap him in front of him. After taking a sip of wine, the third brother looked at Ying Ke and said sincerely, Fifth brother, I'm going to leave for a while to do one thing, and then come back to accompany you and never leave again. Ying Ke said, for that woman. The third brother said, yes, the woman I love, even though she is married. But what I promised her, I will do it. Ying Ke said, look for the treasure and give it to her. The third brother said, yes, a treasure is a treasure in the world. I spent 8 years traveling all over the world, searching for countless clues, and finally found it. Besides, I have a mission. Ying Ke said, what mission? The third brother said, there is another enemy in our family who has not cut the grass and roots. I have been a shame of the family since I was a child. I have always fought against my parents, and I owe my parents the grace of giving birth, so I need to help the family get rid of this only hidden danger and let the whole family get rid of it. No worries. Ying Ke said, respect you. With tears in his eyes, the third brother said emotionally, Fifth brother, I am a ridiculous person. I have been eccentric and withdrawn since I was a child. Everyone looks down on me. My beloved woman is also taking advantage of me, and my father is also ashamed of me. Only with you can speak freely, as a confidant. Ying Ke said, the third brother is my only friend in this life. The third brother finished his drink and said, fifth brother, don't worry. After finishing these two things, I will come back to accompany you, and I will live with you from now on. Ying Ke also had tears in his eyes, and said, respect third brother, respect our 5 years of mutual support. The two drank again. Then, Ying Q's expression changed, the corners of his mouth bleed, and he fell to the ground. With tears in his eyes, the incomparably handsome nobleman stepped forward to help Ying Ke up, hugged him into his arms and trembled, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Fifth brother, I promised my beloved woman that if I found that treasure for her, I must prove myself. I searched for several years, only to find that the treasure in your hand turned out to be a pen of bones. Fifth brother, I also know that you have come back from the dead. The foundation of our family, the foundation of the Mi family, were all taken from your family. Our Shengong family was originally a naturalized alien, with today's power and inheritance are not easy. If I leave you, I will definitely get revenge. I am already an unfilial son. In order to repay the kindness of my parents, I still have to cut down the roots of the family. Fifth brother, I once broke through a terrifying cave and was invaded and infiltrated by some kind of dark force. My life is not long. We have been dependent on each other over the years, and you are my only confidant. Don't worry, after these two things are done, I will come to the unknown tomb to guard your spirit and be the mortuary in your place. The two of us, brothers, truly depend on each other for life, and I will be buried next to you after death. Fifth brother, I'll tell you my true identity now. I'm the third son of Shen Gongao. Shen Yukui. After all, your son took out a white bone pen from Ying Q's arms. Then, he took out the dagger, and was about to slowly pierce Ying Q's heart. I'm sorry fifth brother, sorry fifth brother. It doesn't hurt, very quickly. His dagger pierced slowly, tears streaming down his face. Ying Ke was silent, his eyes moist, as if waiting for death to come. But the next second, the incomparably handsome and noble son Shen Yukui was bleeding from his nostrils, ears, and mouth. Shen Yukui was stunned and trembled, fifth brother, you already knew my identity. Ying Ch nodded. Shen Yukui said, you also know that I'm going to poison you, so you're stronger first. I'm waiting for you to kill me. Ying Ke said, of course, you can still pierce my heart and kill me now. Shen Yukui was trembling all over, and the dagger in his hand never stabbed. Fifth brother, brother, please, let go of my father, don't kill my family. Shen Yukui said hoarsely, then closed his eyes and died. Kwei. Ying Ke cleaned Shen Wuqiu's body, put on the most gorgeous clothes, and put on makeup for him. Then, take a portrait of his corpse. What an extremely beautiful man! An unprecedented amount of energy has been poured into it. A portrait of a beautiful man, vivid on the paper, agile, free and easy, uninhibited. Extract the soul memory of the deceased. The soul memory of Shen Gongao's third son, Shen Yukui, and countless memory data poured into Ying Q's mind without reservation. Next, Ying Ke used a white bone pen to make a knife, and was meticulous. Then, the relic at the top of the white bone pen suddenly lit up, almost illuminating the entire dark night. The white bone pen Nirvana. The bone painting is completed, the vein painting is completed, and the skin painting is completed. Ying Ke sat cross-legged on the ground, drawing bones for himself first. The dragon is in the sky, the basalt is in the ground, and there are lightning cracks. These three kinds of root bones are all top level, and there is no one in a million. There is no shortage of choosing the dragon in the sky, which is the root of the king. He was born with mediocre roots, but he could gather the roots of 10,000 people and condense them all on his body. Transform yourself into a martial arts genius that is 1 in 10,000. 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. The whole day and night passed. Ying Ke has finished painting the bones for himself. The root bone dragon, the top martial arts in the world, is in the sky, the transformation is completed, and nirvana is completed. Ying Ke opened his eyes again, although his image did not change. But, there seems to be a wind hidden in the body. This kind of sky-defying roots, cultivating any martial arts, is a leap forward, 1,000 miles in a day, which is very amazing. This kind of fundamental talent, no matter which country you are in, is the favored son of heaven. Next, draw a pulse for yourself. Next, what kind of spiritual vein he wants to choose. 9 yin profound vessels, 9 yang profound veins, chaos divine veins. Juyin profound veins are suitable for conspiracy-related occupations, such as music, gu training, poison making, onmyoji, etc. Juyang profound vein is suitable for alchemy, magician, strategist, etc. Chaos divine veins can be yin and yang, full of unknowns. But generally speaking, the spiritual meridian talent needs to be pure and extreme. It is not recommended to choose the chaos divine vessel, because the unknown is too strong. After thinking about it for a long time, Wu Kei still chose the chaos divine vessel, at least this kind of spirit vein cannot be detected. Next, Ying Ke began an extremely difficult picture. The muscles and veins are incomparably complex, and the top-level chaos divine veins can't be added. Because every time I painted the veins before, it was only necessary to have the same general shape, without involving the interior. And this time, it is a complete copy of the incomparably complex muscle system. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. The total length of blood vessels and nerves in the human body is more than 100,000 kilometers. An hour has passed. 2 hours have passed. 5 hours passed. 24 hours have passed. Ying Ke opened his eyes and finished his pulse painting. There is no one in the billions of the gods of chaos. You're done. Finally, it's the skin. After half an hour, use a white bone pen to draw inch by inch at the crack. Immediately, the crack was completely healed. The muscles on the surface of the body begin to wriggle. In the end, the whole body was completely integrated without any flaws. It worked. Finally succeeded. Ying Ke looked at himself in front of the mirror. He was tall and straight, unparalleled in beauty, and a handsome man. 15 years, exactly 15 years. I finally have a complete body, I finally have a complete appearance, and I can finally return to human society. From today onwards, he is the third son of the Shen family, Shen Wuqi. Shen Gongao, my first life and death enemy. You wait for me to come to your house, first take your inheritance, and then let you not survive or die. And right now. Boom boom boom. In the sky outside, there was lightning and thunder. A huge bolt of lightning struck the house where Ying Ke lived. Boom! The house collapsed directly. In the torrential rain and lightning, Ying Ke opened his arms and roared in the sky. Ah, ah, ah! Note, the new book is released, please ask for collection, ask for monthly pass, ask for recommendation ticket. Shen Gongao, the master of Zhenhai City, has reached the pinnacle of his life. He is almost a peak powerhouse within 1,000 miles, and for more than 10 years, he has not suffered a defeat. The entire Zhenhai City, as well as dozens of affiliated islands, are his territory. To defend the border of the empire, to fight against the army of the Dali Kingdom, and to win many battles, he has already captured more than a dozen cities. Whether it's personal combat or on the battlefield, he hasn't lost a single one in 10 years. Now his family's territory has reached 13,000 square kilometers, most of which he grabbed from the Dali Kingdom with his own hands. 10 years ago, his fief was only 1/10. He has a powerful navy and a powerful mountain army in his hands. His 10 years of deeds surpassed the accumulation of his ancestors for hundreds of years. He killed countless people, and within 1,000 miles, all the children stopped crying, which was called the massacre. In the past 10 years, he has been a rising star in the empire. There are territories, armies, and industries. But his son, Shen Wuqi, has been missing for 8 years. This matter has become an untouchable topic in the Shen family. Zhenhai City. This is one of the southernmost cities in the entire Daxia Empire, and it is also one of the important military towns in the southern part of the entire empire. This city once belonged to the Ying family. Nanzhenhai and Beiyingzhou used to be the two most important cities for the Ying family, with Yingzhou as the main city and Zhenhai as the supplement. For hundreds of years, Zhenhai City has been a major maritime trade city, flowing through the sea of gold and silver. But now Zhenhai City is owned by Shen Gongao, and there are tens of thousands of square kilometers of territory, all of which belong to the Shen family. When Ying Ke came to Zhenhai City Gate again, he felt both familiar and unfamiliar. His own memory and Shen Wuqi's memory collided together, forming a very strange feeling. When he was young, Ying Ke liked Zhenhai more than Yingzhou. Because Yingzhou is too serious, Zhenhai is prosperous and lively, and all kinds of aliens can be seen here. I remember that the city lord of Zhenhai was Ying Q's uncle Ying Chu. He was a very interesting person who loved Ying Ke very much. There seemed to be a never-ending gift hidden behind him, and every time he brought surprises to Ying Ke. Immediately afterwards, Shen Wuqi's memory came to mind. The memory of this city for him is not good, even very bad. Father Shen Gongao's disappointed eyes, as well as the determination that his dream lover turned his face away, came to mind from time to time. He shook his head, throwing away the memory of his own victory and let the memory of Shen Wuqi occupy his mind. From now on, I will be Shen Wuqi. Only when I kill all my enemies, take back the clan's territory, and restore the glory of the Ying family, will I be eligible to restore the name of Ying Ke. It's a little strange. Zhenhai City has always been very lively, why does it seem so quiet at this time, and the soldiers on the top of the city seem so meticulous? You either come in or leave, don't delay the ceremony. Suddenly, there was a shout from the top of the city. Grand ceremony? What's the big day today? Wu Ke hurriedly entered the city gate and immediately saw a big scene. The whole town of Zhenhai was swept spotlessly, and the crowds on both sides of the street were standing neatly. The houses on both sides of the street are covered with lanterns and covered with red paper. Inside the city gate, countless official sedan chairs are arranged neatly. There are also hundreds of civil and military officials, standing behind the official sedan chair. Who are they going to greet? Come on, enter the crowd. Several warriors came in and dragged Wu Wu into the crowd at will. Quietly observe the ceremony, kneel if you are asked to kneel, shout if you want to be quiet, and be quiet if you are asked to be quiet. After the command, the official left. After a while, there was a sound of hooves, and the knight was carrying a banner with a big letter written on it. Master Shen Gongao, the governor of Zhennan, has already reached 10 miles away. Immediately, a high-ranking official in purple robe walked out of the official sedan chair and said, "Everyone, follow me out of the city to meet the governor." A dozen senior officials got off the sedan chair and led hundreds of civil and military officials out of the city gate in a mighty manner. Waited for another 2 hours. The whole ground began to tremble, getting louder and stronger. This is the sound of countless war horses hitting the ground, this is a powerful cavalry, countless. Zhennan Grand Governor, Zhenhai Bo Shen Gongao is here. The triumph ceremony officially begins. Play music. Immediately, a magnificent music sounded, it was a large band with more than a few hundred people. A mighty and domineering carriage, dragged by the 6 divine horses, came slowly. Shen Gongao pushed open the carriage door and walked out slowly. The carriage was huge, and he stood on the carriage like a pillar of strength. Hundreds of officials bowed and said, "Congratulations to the Grand Governor on his victory." Immediately afterwards, An came out, followed by dozens of little eunuchs. Your Majesty has a purpose. Immediately, all the officials present, tens of thousands of soldiers, and tens of thousands of people, all knelt down neatly. Grand Governor Shen Gongao is in armor, so you don't need to kneel to pick it up. They shouted loudly. Shen Gongao got off the carriage and knelt down like a jade pillar. Several eunuchs came forward to stop him from kneeling down, but they were completely unable to stop him. Shen Gongao half knelt. All the officials present knelt down, including the Governor-General, only Shen Gongao was half kneeling. Feng Tianqianjiun Emperor's decree said, Shen Gongao, the chief governor of the southern expedition, left the country in this southern expedition. He has made outstanding contributions, won more than a dozen cities, and expanded hundreds of miles of land. He is a model of the empire's generals. Thank you, Your Majesty, long live my emperor, long live. Immediately, countless envious gazes appeared. Shen Gongao directly made him a marquis. You must know that apart from the founding of the country, in the next few hundred years, the title of marquis has already reached its peak. Several eunuchs stepped forward and immediately put on the marquis python robe for Shen Gongao, and presented the brand new Zhenhai Hao seal. After finishing all this, the governor of Tianshui province stepped forward, bowed and said, Brother Shen, you have worked hard all the way. This battle is really a great victory for me in decades. Shen Gongao, thank you. Governor Fujianzi said, Marquis of Zhenhai, please mount your horse, and I will hold the reins for you. Shen Gongao, I don't dare. Governor Fujianzi said, Dare, dare, dare. Shen Gongao didn't delay, he directly boarded the carriage. Governor Fujianzi really got into the driver's seat of the carriage, took the reins, and drove into the city for Shen Gongao. Immediately, he played the music and changed the song, Tian and Mighty Song. Hundreds of civil and military officials followed behind the carriage. Thousands of cavalry, manipulating war horses, marched neatly and escorted Shen Gongao into the city. So majestic, so brilliant, so glorious. It is the pinnacle of life. A man should be like this. Where Shen Gongao's chariot passed, people on both sides of the road fell to their knees. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Long live my emperor, long live my emperor. The Marquis of Zhenhai is mighty, the Marquis of Zhenhai is mighty. The sound resounded through the sky. This half is organized, and the other half is awe from the heart. Shen Gongao's name has been so loud in recent years that it is even frightening to hear. Countless people knelt down on both sides, looking up at Shen Gongao, majestic, dressed in sunshine, like a of war. Everyone knelt, but only one did not. That is Shen Wuqi. When he didn't kneel, he looked particularly abrupt, but he was so handsome and graceful. A few officials got angry when they saw it, so they knelt forward and bent Shen Wuqi's knees. Shen Gongao turned his head and saw Shen Wuqi. He couldn't help but stunned, and even the muscles at the corners of his mouth trembled slightly. This is inexhaustible. This is his son, Shen Wuqi, who has been missing for 8 years. He came back? Not only Shen Gongao, but even Fujianzi, the governor of the car, found out, his eyes narrowed slightly, and he quickly returned to normal. The gorgeous chariot quickly drove past Shen Wuqi's eyes. And Shen Gongao's eyes were always on Wuqi's face for about 5 seconds, then he turned his head and stopped looking at him. But Shen Gongao's gaze was enough to make all officials dare not move. Shen Gongao's chariot will pass through the entire Zhenhai city and enter He Fort, which is the brand new Zhenhai Hao mansion. The real triumphal ceremony begins. This is a highlight moment for the entire Shen family. Note, benefactors, ask for a monthly pass for the new book, ask for a collection, ask for a recommended ticket. After the banquet, Shen Gongao and Fujianzi had a secret conversation. At this time, Shen Gongao no longer concealed it, and his right leg was slightly lame. Fujianzi, governor of Tianshui province, said in shock, "Brother Shen, are you injured?" Shen Gongao, "Yes." Fu Jianzi said, "There are still people who can hurt you." Shen Gongao said, "It's a monster." The Tao of Fu Jianzi, monster? Is there a monster in Dali? Shen Gongao said, "This person Yaeli has risen very fast. Although Li Guo is small, he has risen strongly and should not be underestimated." The Dali kingdom is located at the southern end of the Daxia dynasty. The founding king, Yaeli, is wise and martial, and has the spirit of a king. He destroyed the Nanzan dynasty in just a few years. Fu Jianzi said, "It's really not to be underestimated. 3 years ago, there was no need for Brother Shen to take action. The other generals fought and won many battles in the south. After the founding of Yaeli, the war in the south and the north actually killed me. Wan Dajin fled and recaptured more than a dozen cities in our dynasty. Fortunately, Brother Shen took action, and he was ashamed." Shen Gongao said, "That's because the main force of the Dali kingdom is fighting the rebellion in the south." Fu Jianzi said, "If Yaeli destroys the remaining forces of the Nanzan kingdom and unites the entire Nanyi, it will be a big problem for my confidence." Shen Gongao said, "Didn't we stop the war with the barbarians and Laos in the southwest? In the future, we will focus on dealing with this newly rising Dali kingdom." Then, Shen Gongao asked, "How is Mijun?" This question is the key point. For this triumphal ceremony, Mi Jun himself didn't come, and he didn't even send his son. This is a dangerous sign. Mi Jun is the former lord of the Shen Gong clan, and the two have a very close relationship. Fu Jianzi said, "Master Mi is very good, and I miss Brother Shen very much." Shen Gongao said, "I will go north to Yingzhou in a few days to visit Mijun." Fu Jianzi avoided answering this question, and instead asked, "I saw Wu Kei today. I haven't congratulated Mr. Shen on the reunion. Has Wu Kei nephew been missing for 8 years?" Shen Gongao said, "If you don't mention this traitor, it's better to have nothing." Fu Jianzi said, "I'm ashamed to say that Wu Kui's nephew ran away from home mostly because of the daughter's sins." Shen Gongao said, "What do you have to do with Kwei? Kwei is a phoenix in the sky, that idiot is mediocre and flamboyant, how can he deserve half a finger of Kwei? If he could not ask for it, he disobeyed his parents, resisted the marriage contract, and left the church scene as soon as he walked away. News, what's the use of these renegade sons? It's really a shame for my Shen Gong family." Fu Jianzi's eyes twitched slightly when he heard Shen Gongao's voice about the Shen Gong family. Shen Gongao was born of an alien race. When he was very young, the entire family was defeated in the Northwest Alien Battle. Only then did his father lead the entire family to join the Daxia Empire. In order to show his loyalty to His Majesty the Emperor, the Shen Gong family was changed to the Shen family, expressing harmony. The Shen Gong clan of the Northwest Aliens completely drew a clear line. Therefore, the entire empire is called the Shen family. Today, Duke Shen and Ao Gong build the empire. His power is amazing, and he keeps talking about the Duke Shen family. Imperial officials are not used to it. However, in the face of Shen Gongao, who was in full swing, Governor Fu Jianzi would not show any unhappiness in his heart. Instead, he comforted him, "The past has passed, Wu Kui is ignorant when he was young, and now he should have figured it out when he comes back. Today's banquet will not see Wu Quexian. Nephew, I must have not returned home yet, why not send someone to bring him back to the mansion?" Shen Gongao said coldly, "Even if Nazai dies outside, I don't even look at him. Do you want me to take him home? But I don't think about it." Bang! There was an explosion, and the jade ball in Shen Gongao's hand was crushed unconsciously, showing how angry he was in his heart. Of course, it can be seen how amazing the power in his hands is. "Don't be angry, don't be angry." Fu Jianzi said, "Then I won't mention him, and I won't mention him." Then Governor Fu Jianzi said, "There is something, but I want to talk to you. Shen Gongao said, Brother Fu, please speak. Fu Jianzi said, you have been promoted to a marquis, and you are the top noble of the empire. So far, you have not established a prince. I am afraid that the etiquette will not match. Speaking of Li Shizi, Shen Gongao sighed. Not because the son is not promising, but because the two sons are too outstanding, so I don't know which one to choose. The eldest son Shen Wuzhuo and the second son Shen Wu. A martial arts genius with unparalleled tactics. A literary excellence, unparalleled in internal affairs. It is amazing for other families to have such an outstanding son, but Shen Gongao has two such sons. Not only him, but even the retainers of the Shen family don't know who to choose to inherit the family business. Shen Gongao said, Brother Fu, you tell me, eldest son, second son, which one should I choose? Fu Jianzi sighed and said, everyone in the world doesn't know it, so how can I know? You are really in trouble. Shen Gongao looked out the window and couldn't help but imagine Shen Wuqi's cute appearance when he was a child. Shen Wuqi was his youngest son. At that time, he was nearly 40 years old. He was middle-aged and had a very beautiful appearance. He was definitely the most beloved. Unconsciously, 20 years have passed. The relationship between father and son has also become turbulent. The key point is that this young son is too unpromising and disappointed him too much. At this time, Fu Jianzi suddenly said, Brother Shen, there is one thing I don't know if I should ask. Shen Gongao showed a chill in the depths of his eyes, as if he knew what the other party was going to ask, and then he said lightly, Brother Fu, is there anything else you can't ask? Governor Fu Jianzi said, I heard that on the battlefield, Brother Shen suddenly collapsed and fainted and kept twitching. I don't know if it's true or not. Shen Gongao sneered, it's really good things don't go out, and bad things spread thousands of miles. It seems that there are many people who want me to fall. Brother Fu, do you believe it? Fu Jianzi said, I only believe what Brother Shen said. Shen Gongao said, of course this is fake, it's just my arrogant plan. I fainted 3 times on the battlefield and kept twitching. After the 3rd time, the enemy finally got fooled, thinking that our army had no leader and rushed forward. Come to steal the camp, I killed the commander, repelled dozens of miles, and was defeated. Fu Jianzi said, let me just say, Brother Shen is invincible, how could he be ill, let alone suddenly faint and twitch? You are the Optimus Jade pillar in the southern border of our empire, and you are indispensable for a day. Looking at Fu Jianzi's smiling face, Shen Gongao felt a chill in his heart. The current Shen Gong clan is too powerful, and his Shen Gongao is too powerful, which has caused many people to be jealous and even hostile. However, he was born in the Shen Gong clan. Although he is bright now, as long as he shows a hint of weakness, the wolves around him are afraid to bite him immediately. Picking Star Pavilion. It can almost be called the tallest pavilion in Zhenhai City, and it is magnificent. The master of Zhaixing Pavilion, Xie Fan. She is almost the most legendary woman in the entire southern border. Admired, admired, fascinated. At this time, this stunning woman sat in front of the mirror and drew her eyebrows, with a slender and proud body, and her sitting posture was upright and graceful. The towering Kyang nose and the almost sharp eyebrows all describe her strong personality. Her lips are as bright as fire, and her face is as sharp as a cut. Her chest is arrogant, and her waist is tightly bunched. The hips are lifted and the legs are slender. She is already beautiful, but she still likes makeup, and she paints for a long time every time, but only for herself. Madam, Madam! A maid rushed in and said excitedly, Madam, good news, good news! Young Master Wuqi is back, young Master Wuqi is back! Xi Fan's beautiful eyes trembled and became cold. The surrounding air seemed to have cooled down. The maid said timidly, Madam, aren't you happy? Is he your husband? Husband? A husband who ran away from marriage at the church service and left her alone in the eyes of thousands of mocking eyes? Before she even had a bridal chamber, she had already become a widow. Although she is beautiful, she is still the target of ridicule of countless people. Even walking on the road, many people looked at her with strange, even wretched eyes. She was not defeated, but bravely broke away from the asylum of Shen Gongfu, and built a brilliant foundation in a few years. Now, not only has she regained all her dignity, but she is also radiant and admired by all. Who would dare to mention that Shen Wuqi escaped marriage now? She has lived herself. In everyone's eyes, she is the owner of the star-picking pavilion, not the daughter-in-law of Duke Shen's residence. Taking a deep breath of the fragrance like orchid, Xia Fan said slowly, "Shen Wuqi, you're finally back? The shame you brought me by escaping from the marriage should be forgotten." Note: benefactors, do you still have monthly and recommended tickets? Inside an inn in Zhenhai City. The old slave pays respects to the third son. An old man bowed down, looking at Wu Kei with extremely excited eyes. Wu Kei was going to stop the other party from salute, but 3 or 4 feet away, rushing over was not decent, so he just let it go and let the other party salute. He cleaned the tea bowl in front of him little by little until it was spotless. The old man in front of him was one of the housekeepers of the Zhenhai Marquis mansion. Chu Liang, the dowry housekeeper brought by Shen Wuqi's mother, Chu Mingzhu, was his own Uncle Liang. Wu Kei raised the teacup and asked, "Drink tea?" Chu Liang knelt down and said, "I don't dare, my son, you are finally back. You are finally back. Madam, you know, so you can rest assured." After speaking, he actually burst into tears. Although he is currently one of the stewards of the Marquis' mansion, in his mind Shen Gongao, the Marquis of Zhenhai, is not his master. His previous master was Chu Mingzhu. After Chu Mingzhu died, his master was Shen Wuqi. In the 8 years since Shen Wuqi disappeared, the servants of Chu Liang's family had no master, and he felt that he had no roots. Wu Kei has a cold and arrogant personality, and he won't say anything from the bottom of his heart. Since the other party doesn't drink tea, he will drink it himself. Third young master, although Lord Ho has not talked about it for years, he misses you very much in his heart, and not only sent a group of people to look for your traces. Chu Liang said, "Since you are back, then go to the mansion and meet the Ho. Lord, take it easy, the previous unpleasantness is over, and you will still be the third son of the Marquis house in the future. Your mother is also Lord Ho's favorite wife. He died in childbirth in those years, and Lord Ho was in pain, so you are very important in Lord Ho's heart. It's just that he has a strong personality and you are stubborn, which makes the relationship between father and son like water and fire." "But what kind of hatred does father and son have?" Wu Kei said indifferently, "I worked hard for 8 years to write a book, which he regarded as not doing a proper job, and slapped it in front of everyone and burned it to the ground. Back then, when I studied music with an actor, he took my teacher into the mansion. Punished and beaten to death, publicly said that I was the shame of Shen Gongshi. And in Tian Shui Academy, he tied me and whipped me in public, and swept the floor gently." Chu Liang said, "But you also got revenge, young master. 8 years ago, you got married at your church. There were so many guests, and there were countless wealthy and nobles present. You fled the marriage in public and replaced the groom with a puppet. I almost fainted from anger. Shen Gongao and Shen Wuqi, father and son, really love and kill each other. Shen Gongao is extremely powerful, and he can't say otherwise. Shen Wuqi has a stubborn personality, aloof and withdrawn. Neither side is convinced by the other. Ever since Shen Wuqi grew up, the father and son have been on the same page, and they have developed into a bit of an enemy in the back." But after reading Shen Wuqi's memory, he found that Shen Wuqi actually admired his father in his heart, and was extremely eager to get his approval. However, in the fields that Shen Wuqi is good at, Shen Gongao doesn't look down on everything, and feels that he is not doing his job properly and is shameful. Uncle Liang, if you want me to go home, let him come and invite me back in person. Wu Kei said lightly. Chu Liang was startled and said, how is this possible? How arrogant and powerful is the Marquis, how can he bow his head? Even if the sun rises in the west, it is impossible. Wu Kei said, then I will never go back to the Marquis mansion. Getting along with anyone is a kind of war in a sense. Either the east wind prevails over the west wind, or the west wind prevails over the east wind. If Wu Kei went back to the Marquis mansion in despair at this time, although Shen Gongao would be happy, he would also look down on Wu Kei. When he was on earth, he, a medical doctor, saw too much life and death, and too much cold and warm. At a young age, he became the director of a certain first-class hospital in the country. How many guns and arrows did he escape, and how many competitors were killed by his indifferent and lofty face? So Wu Kei understands human nature too well, so he not only wants to go back, but also goes back forcefully. Chu Liang was worried and returned to the Marquis mansion, lying on the bed tossing and turning repeatedly, unable to fall asleep. The wife said, is the little master unwilling to come back? Chu Liang said, alas. The wife said, would you like to send our 2 sons over to serve, the little master Jin Ziwei, what if there is no one around? Chu Liang said, what do you know? The key is to let their father and son reconcile, this is not good for the little master. Now that the Marquis is still there, the little master can still win something. In the future, the Marquis's mansion will change the owner, and the little master's life will be real. Sad. And at this moment, a voice sounded outside. Chu Liang, Lord Ho called you. Chu Liang quickly got up, changed his clothes, and went to Shen Gongao's courtyard. Inside the courtyard, Shen Gongao was standing in the courtyard, dressed in commoner clothes, and said coldly, Chu Liang, have you gone to see that renegade son? Yes. Chu Liang knelt down and said. Shen Gongao said, humph, you go tell that renegade son. My Shen Gongfu is not a vegetable garden. I can come when I want, and I can leave when I want. Since I have left, there is no need to come back. Chu Liang said, the old slave asked the 3rd son to return to the mansion, but the 3rd son refused. Shen Gongao sneered, pretend, what did Nazai say? Chu Liang said, the 3rd young master said that if you want to let him go back to the mansion, unless the Marquis goes to invite him in person. In an instant, the whole air instantly cooled down. Shen Gongao's beard was violently flamboyant, and he was really going to explode with anger. Chu Liang knew about Shen Gongao. What this Marquis hated the most was the soft head. Although Shen Mukui had been fighting against him and made him angry enough, it was this stubborn personality that made Shen Gongao feel a little bit of appreciation while he was angry. But Lord Ho is also extremely proud and tough, and anyone who dares to stand against His Majesty will be smashed to pieces. This villain, even if he dies outside, I won't take a second look. Shen Gongao said coldly, if you want me to invite him and daydream, let him die outside and rot outside. The order goes on, anyone don't send money or anything. Especially you, Chu Liang, don't send anyone to serve him. I'd like to see what tricks this villain can play under my nose. Having said that, Shen Gongao left in anger. When he reached the door, Shen Gongao staggered under his feet for a while, and quickly stood still. That terrible feeling is coming again, fainting and twitching. Never fall, never fall. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. He Shen Gongao is not only the pillar of the Shen Gong family, but also the pillar of the whole family. Once he fell, the surrounding nobles would pounce on him like wolves and devoured the foundation of the Shen Gong family completely. Falling down on the battlefield before can also be called an arrogant tactic. If he fainted again at home and twitched, he could no longer hide it. Everyone would see Shen Gongshi's weakness. You must secretly find a magical doctor and cure yourself, you must. At this time, Chu Liang asked, Master Ho, what's the matter with you? At this time, Shen Gongao was dizzy, the world was spinning, and his eyes were blackened, and he couldn't control himself and fell to the ground. But he controlled himself with an incomparably powerful will, saying word by word, Chu Liang, you go and ask that renegade son. Since he is so strong, he doesn't want to go back to the manor, and he doesn't want to recognize me as a father. Why did he want to go back to Zhenhai City again? Why should he appear under my nose again? If he can't give a perfect explanation, he can leave. Chu Liang's body went cold. This logic is indeed very critical. If the little master can't give a perfect answer, he will not be able to pass this level, and will be completely despised by Shen Gongao. If you really don't want to go back to the manor, why do you want to go back to Zhenhai City? Why go back to Shen Gongao's eyes? Wouldn't it be nice to have a good time outside? You went back to Zhenhai City, and you pretended not to go back to the Marquis Mansion. Isn't that to set up a memorial archway? It's obvious that he can't stay outside anymore, he can't stand the hardship and wants to go back to the house, but he's still pretending to sing something high profile, shameless, incompetent, sad. Note, benefactors, please ask for a monthly ticket, a recommended ticket. Thank you all. Inside the inn, Chu Liang repeated Shen Gongao's original words, and then said, Third young master, this test is very sad, Lord Ho is waiting for me to answer. If you can't give a perfect explanation, I will let you leave Zhenhai City, and then go to town again. Don't come back either. Wu Kei took out an envelope and handed it to Chu Liang, give this letter to him. If he hasn't completely fainted, he should be able to understand it. After half an hour, Shen Gongao was dripping with sweat, as if he had just come back from hell. Just now, his illness attacked again. He was locked in the room alone, collapsed to the ground, convulsed all over, and was shameless. But at this time, his face was just a little pale, and his aura was still full of oppression. This is a letter from young Master Wu Kui to you. Chu Liang handed it over. Shen Gongao took the letter and saw that there was a wax seal on it. He sneered inwardly and felt that it was all pretentious. He opened the letter, twitched the letter inside, opened it, and his expression changed drastically. So I read it again, and then directly grabbed the letter in my hand and rubbed it hard until it became crumbs. Because it reads, Shen Gongao, you have an incurable disease, you are not benevolent, I cannot be unjust, I rushed back to save you. In this world, only I can cure your disease. In the letter, the name was named, and he didn't even call his father, and the exit was an incurable disease. No wonder Shen Gongao was furious in his heart. After crushing the letter, Shen Gongao stood up abruptly and said angrily, Go tell that renegade son, I'm fine, I don't need him to curse me. He can go and leave Zhenyuan City, I don't want to see him again. Chu Liang was silent for a while, not knowing what was written in the little master's heart, that he was so angry with Lord Ho. Early the next morning, a samurai appeared in front of Wu Kei. Young Master Wu Kui, my master wants to see you. A group of faces began to appear in Wu Kui's mind, and finally one person was locked. He nodded and said, Please lead the way. Following this samurai, he came to an exquisite manor with a fish pond. An elegant middle-aged man was fishing in the pavilion. Nephew, are we together? The middle-aged man asked. Wu Kei stepped forward, picked up the fishing rod next to him, and went fishing together. Does my nephew still remember me? The middle-aged man asked. Wu Kei said, Remember, Master Fu. The middle-aged man in front of him is Fu Jianzi, governor of Tianshui province. This should also be on the complete list of enemies, although I still don't know it clearly, but in the demise of the Ying family, this Lord Fu Jianzi also played a certain role. What's even more tragic is that the Fu family was once a retainer of the Ying family, and the Fu Jianzi in front of him was considered a great favor of the Ying family. Fu Jianzi said, "You have a bad relationship with Ling Zun. To a certain extent, I am also responsible. I didn't discipline Kwei well, so you were strongly stimulated 8 years ago and chose to run away from home." Fu Kwei, the beautiful girl of the academy, the most dazzling pearl in the entire south, the dream lover of countless people. Regardless of civil or military, they are all geniuses. The former Shen Wuqi was fascinated by her. Even he chose to study history and astronomy because of this woman. This woman used to be in the library, looking at the countless books and sighing, "The history of 10,000 years is like a sea of smoke. It is so fascinating, it really makes people want to give up everything and indulge in it. I just hate that I don't have enough time to study it." Fascinating truth. This woman once lay on the grass with Shen Wuqi, looked at the stars in the sky and sighed, "Looking at the stars, I feel that we are so insignificant. I think the ultimate goal of our human beings must be the stars and the sea, and that is the most noble ideal." She sighed with emotion, but she focused on 2 kinds of research, one is martial arts, and the other is Suanwen classics. Only Shen Wuqi was really stupid to study history, study astronomy and stars. After many years of research, it can be regarded as a relatively deep research, but as soon as he raised his head, Fu Kwei had already been thrown 108,000 miles away. After Shen Wuqi was humiliated by his father Shen Gongao, he furiously took revenge on the family, ran away from the marriage at the wedding ceremony in the hall, and ran away from home without a goal. Fu Kwei came to talk with him again, and gave the confused Shen Wuqi a life goal to find some kind of ancient treasure for the Sueshan, make achievements for the Sueshan, and take the opportunity to join the Sueshan committee to realize his own life value. For this goal, Shen Wuqi really wandered outside for 8 years, and he almost found this ancient treasure. Shen Wuqi's feelings for Fu Kwei are really deep. But at this time, when looking down at this memory from above, it just felt ridiculous. Fu Kwei, just a top quality green tea. Or rather, the queen of the sea. Not even a bitch. Kwei is married. Fu Jianzi then stared at Wuqi's reaction. "I know." Wu Kei understood the other party's subtext in seconds. Fu Jianzi felt that Wu Qi's return was entirely because of Fu Kwei's marriage. He was happy for the other party to think so. Fu Jianzi asked, "My nephew traveled abroad for 8 years, did he gain anything?" Wu Kei still understands in seconds, this is secretly testing Wu Kei to find the ancient treasures that Sueshan wants. He said blankly, "No gain, only this handsome skin." Fu Jianzi's face twitched, chatting with the brain-dead young man was so tiring. But there is no way, no one can believe the truth. Fu Jianzi asked, "My nephew is going home this time, what are your plans?" Wu Kei said, "I have plans, it's inconvenient to say." Fu Jianzi was slightly stunned, and then smiled, this Wu Kei is already 26 years old, yet he still has such a personality, how can he be so innocent? Fu Jianzi said kindly, "You have a tense relationship with Ling Zun, do you want me to be a middle-aged person and have a drink to help you ease the relationship?" Wu Kei said, "No need." Then Fu Jianzi hesitated, wanting to take the initiative to ask Wu Kei, but Wu Kei chose not to ask. Suddenly, Wu Kei said, "Mr. Fu, your fish has been hooked, haven't you caught it yet?" Fu Jianzi said, "Everything has a spirit, fishing is just for elegance, not for fish." Wu Kei said, as expected of a father and daughter, they like to keep fish, but they don't eat just fishing. Fu Jianzi couldn't help turning his head to the side and said with a smile, "My nephew has something to say." Wu Kei grinned at the corner of his mouth, indicating that I smiled, but said nothing. Fu Jianzi said, "By the way, nephew, did you hear any rumors when you came back this time?" Wu Kei said, "Never." Fu Jianzi said, "There is a lot of rumors out there now that Ling Zun fainted several times on the battlefield and twitched. As an old friend, I am very worried, but you know the character of Ling Zun, and he is very strong. You are a son after all. I want you to persuade Ling Zun not to be sick and avoid doctors. I also brought 3 famous doctors over this time, so I can see your doctor at any time. At this moment, Fu Jianzi's eyes were full of concern. But for some reason, this look reminded Wu Kei of crocodile tears. Shen Gongao had another seizure. It has only been less than a day since the last attack. His wife, Mu Hongyu, hugged her husband tightly. In her mind, her husband Shen Gongao was always tall and proud, extremely powerful and a figure like a pillar of the sky, and he had to be decent. She absolutely did not allow her husband to fall to the ground and twitch. After more than 10 minutes, the attack was finally over. Shen Gongao's body was cold, as if he was picked up from the water. "Sister, I'm fine." Mu Hongyu still held her husband's head in her arms, with tears in her eyes, but Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com did not fall. This Mu Hongyu is 4 years older than Shen Gongao. She was beautiful when she was young, but now she has lost her beauty. "Husband, let's see the doctor, let's see the doctor." Mu Hongyu said. Shen Gongao said, "I can't see the doctor. At this critical juncture, I can't let people know that I am seriously ill." "Madam, haven't you seen it? These wolves are all in the dark, ready to move. As long as I show weakness, they will pounce on me. This time the emperor canonized me as a marquis, what about the fief? According to the previous practice, a quarter of the land conquered in Nanman will belong to the Shen Gong clan. The private soldiers of the Shen family have also suffered heavy losses, and according to the custom, the new fiefs should also be canonized, why not?" Mu Hongyu said, "Didn't you say that you are measuring?" Shen Gongao said, "I have already measured it, but it's just a pretext. Mu Jianzi is the governor of Tian Shui province, and he should leave after the triumphal ceremony, why not? Why didn't Mr. Mi even send his son to the triumphal ceremony this time? It shows that once the news of my serious illness spreads and is confirmed, the fief of 3,000 square kilometers will be in vain, and even the current foundation will be in jeopardy." Mu Hongyu said, "You have this disease more and more frequently now. If you don't treat it, I'm afraid it's really." Shen Gongao said, "Fortunately, although each attack is unstoppable, after the attack, there is no serious problem. Let's get through this for a while and let the will of the new fiefdom be conferred." After all, Shen Gongao was about to get up. But immediately afterwards, his expression changed, because his right leg seemed to be unable to move, and he was directly paralyzed. Note: the second update is coming. Does Ingong still have monthly and recommended tickets? Mu Hongyu couldn't sit back and ignore her husband's body, so she directly called several doctors from the Marquis mansion to consult Shen Gongao together. Although these 3 doctors cannot be called genius doctors, they are definitely Onofei kind famous doctors. After all, the Shen Gong clan is now a top-level aristocrat, and it is definitely not easy for a doctor to stay here. The 3 doctors, looking, hearing, and inquiring. It took more than half an hour for the consultation, and then his face became embarrassed. Mu Hongyu asked, "Is the Lord Ho's illness serious? Can you cure it?" The 3 famous doctors knelt down and shook their heads in pain. Mu Hongyu stood up abruptly and said, "What do you mean?" The 3 famous doctors bowed their heads and said, "Master Kikai, Madam Kikai, we don't know what kind of disease this is." Mu Hongyu said angrily, "You can't even see any disease? Don't you usually claim that medicine can cure the disease? I, Shen Gongshi, have treated you well for 20 years, and you can't tell me what kind of disease it is." The 3 famous doctors said with trembling, "We have already examined the whole body of Lord Ho. It's really too strange. We can't tell that Lord Ho is ill. We even think that Lord Ho is extremely strong and fierce." Mu Hongyu said angrily, "Quack doctor! Look at him, Does he look strong and brave? The three famous doctors were really puzzled. According to their examinations, Shen Gongao was indeed not sick, and he could even be called as majestic as a tiger, but he was lying on the bed and it was difficult to move. Shen Gongao said word by word, the entire right leg is completely paralyzed, unable to move. The three famous doctors trembled. We really don't know why. Liang Hongyu's body was cold. Although she kept scolding the quack doctor, she knew in her heart that the three doctors were quite skilled in medicine. They could cure any illnesses in the ordinary residents, even very complicated ones. And this time, not only can he not be cured, he doesn't even know what the disease is. It can be seen that husband's illness this time is not a simple incurable disease at all. These days, don't leave this yard for half a step. Mu Hongyu said lightly. Yes. The three doctors trembled. They knew that unless Shen Gongao could be cured, they would never be able to get out, and they would most likely be killed or buried with them. Suddenly, one of the doctors said, "Go and ask the genius Dr. Lin Dea Miao. He should be practicing medicine and teaching at the same time in Tianshui province." Another doctor said, "Yes, Lin Dea Miao is the patriarch of the Department of Medicine and Taoism of Tianshui Academy, and the #1 genius doctor in the south. If there is anyone who can cure Lord Ho's illness, it must be him." School City. It can be regarded as the most detached force in the whole world, regardless of national borders or race. Sueshan is further divided into academies and martial arts schools. Whether it is the Apocalypse Empire in the north, the Great Xia Empire in the Central Plains, or the Great Hungarian Empire in the west, or even the Dali Kingdom and Daliao Kingdom in the south, there are academies and martial arts schools. Every yin and yang family, magician, healer, scholar, aide, etc. in every wealthy and noble family came from the academy. And the top generals, assassins, and strategists of every wealthy and noble family also came out of the martial arts academy. The Sky Academy, in charge of the Academy of the World and the Academy of Martial Arts. There are more than a dozen disciplines in the academy, and the Department of Medicine and Ethics is one of them. All regular doctors in the whole world graduated from the Academy's Department of Medicine and Ethics. And this Lin Dea Miao Tianshui Academy's chief master of the Department of Medicine and Taoism is known as the first genius doctor in the south. Hearing this name, Shen Gongao couldn't help frowning. A doctor said, "Master Ho, don't worry too much, the doctor's parents have the heart. Master Lin is kind, and he likes incurable diseases the most. Once he hears of such strange diseases, he will definitely come to treat them immediately." Another doctor said, "Everyone in the hospital should remember the ancestral teachings. Even if your patient is a devil, you must do your best. After the treatment, forget the patient completely. So he must be an old man. He will be tight-lipped and won't reveal a single word. Master Lin once taught me that I can write to him." After all, the doctor lay down on the ground to write a letter, and then handed it over to Mu Hongyu and Shen Gongao for review. After a long silence, Shen Gongao said hoarsely, "Someone." Suddenly, a figure appeared in the room out of thin air. "Abu, you go to Tianshui Academy in person, and when no one is around, give this letter to Lin Dea Miao." Shen Gongao said. "Yes, master," said the shadow, and after saying that, his figure flashed and he left. Shen Gongao waved it gently, and the letter slipped into Abu's pocket like lightning. These days, rumors have spread so much that even Shen Wuqi has heard people talking about it more than once. "Have you heard? Lord Shen Gongao has fallen ill and is still incurable. At that time on the battlefield, he once fainted and twitched. This must be because the slaughter is too heavy, and tens of thousands of ghosts are haunted. I heard that the Marquis Mansion is already preparing for the funeral. Eldest young Master Shen and second young Master Shen have secretly infiltrated Zhenhai City. As long as Lord Marquis dies, they will immediately compete for the position of Marquis. The entire Zhenhai City can be described as undercurrent. Although Zhenhai City is nominally the territory of Shen Gongao, he himself is the owner of Zhenhai City. But there are at least three forces here. The Shen Gong family, the Mi family, the Daxia Empire, none of them could completely control the city. At this time, Duke Shen was conferred a marquis, and the court was measuring his newly conquered territory. The Shen Gong family's new territory was about to be canonized, and the news of Shen Gongao's serious illness was rampant. It was obvious that there was a pusher behind it, even more than one. Magic Stone City. This is a brand new city, still under construction at this time, but has revealed its grand architecture. A tall wall, a castle with a sturdy bust, and a tiger on a dragon's plate. The newly built Shen Gongfu here is not a mansion at all, but an absolute military fortress. Although the marquee mansion of Zhenhai is in Zhenhai City, the foundation of Duke Shen's family is in Magic Stone City. The Shen Gong family's ruling core of more than 10,000 square kilometers is also in Magic Stone City. This was shot down by Shen Gongao himself, and the land he grabbed from the southern barbarians completely belonged to the city of Shen Gong's family. According to the contract back then, Zhenhai City would be returned to the Mi family in the future. Shen Gongao was naturalized from an alien race. He was loyal to Mijun back then. He had no title but no fief. And the Mi clan killed the Ying clan and took away the entire Tian Shui province. Shen Gongao made the greatest contribution, and Shen Gongao won several great battles. So the emperor asked Mi Jun to lend Zhenhai City to Shen Gongao. Now that so many years have passed, Shen Gongao has been highly valued by the emperor, and he was canonized as the great governor of the south. But Shen Gongao deeply knew that a family without territory would have no foundation. And all his territories were conquered by himself and taken from aliens. Reading www.yuyuganshu.com. According to the emperor's will, for every piece of land that is laid, a quarter of it belongs to the Duke Shen family. Therefore, Shen Gongao's territory is increasing almost every year, and now it has reached 13,000 square kilometers, and the population in the territory is hundreds of thousands. This time, Shen Gongao won a big victory, and gained more than 10,000 square kilometers of land from the country of Dali. According to the agreement, a quarter of the land was owned by the Shen Gong clan, about 3,000 square kilometers. Compared to the 13,000 square kilometers of Shen Gong's fief, 3,000 is not a big number. But these 3,000 square kilometers, with vast and fertile farmland and a population of 300,000, are extremely important to the Shen Gong family. It can be said that as long as the fief of 3,000 square kilometers is obtained, the farmland area of the Shen Gong family will be doubled. Therefore, before the imperial decree came down, Shen Gongao kept concealing the news that he was seriously ill, just because he was worried about unforeseen complications. At this time, at the highest point of the newly built Shen Gongfu castle, an elegant young man was overlooking the city. He is the pride of the Shen Gong family, the second son Shen Wu. The eldest son Shen Wuzhuo led his troops to confront the Dali kingdom on the front line, and supervised the court to measure the new fiefs, and even secretly dispatched troops to occupy them. The second son, Shen Wu, is solely responsible for the construction of Magic Stone City, and is in charge of all internal affairs on the fief of more than 10,000 square kilometers. One is invincible in literacy, and the other is excellent in martial arts. One is in charge of money and the other is in charge of soldiers. Both sons have done a fantastic job. In this way, Shen Gongao can safely hand over all the troops and fiefs to his two sons, and he will do his best to deal with the power of the imperial court and the Mi clan in Zhenhai City. Note: the first update will be sent, benefactors, give me the monthly pass, and give me the recommendation ticket. Second young master, this is already the fifth piece of information that has been sent. The rumors of Zhenhai City are raging, even Magic Stone City, and even all the fiefs of our Shen Gong family. The Lord Ho is seriously ill and his life is in danger. The young man bowed and said, "Are you sure you won't return to Zhenhai City at this critical moment?" Shen Wu said, Father didn't write me a letter asking me to go back, why should I go back? The middle-aged staff said, but, if the eldest son abandons his affairs and leads his troops back to Zhenhai City, and if the illness of Lord Marquis is true, then we will be passive. He didn't dare to say it too clearly, but the meaning was very clear. In case Shen Gongao dies, whoever is in Zhenhai City will have the initiative, and whoever will become the new Marquis of Zhenhai. Even if Shen Gongao's life is not in danger, any son who is by his side at this time can still have the initiative to inherit. Shen Wu said, if I really leave the big things here and don't care about returning to Zhenhai City, then I will fall into some people's tricks. If my father really fell at this time, those wolves around me would have long ago. If you rush forward and completely divide and devour the foundation of the Shen Gong family, then why do I have any objection to the battle with my eldest brother? The middle-aged aide said, but the eldest son? What if he really went to Zhenhai City? He won't go back. Shen Wu said, if he does go, it will make me happy, and he is not worthy of being my opponent. Frontline Barracks. In the absence of Shen Gongao, the eldest son Shen Wuzhuo is the supreme commander of the 20,000 family private army. Shen Wu looks like her mother, handsome and elegant, full of extravagance. And the eldest son, Shen Wuzhuo, looks a lot like Shen Gongao, tall and straight as a mountain, as powerful as a gang. Sitting like a mountain, standing like a sword. Eldest son, the rumors have intensified, and it has been spread in the army. It is said that the Marquis is seriously ill, and the second son blocked the news and has secretly left Magic Stone City and went to Zhenhai City to seek the position of Marquis. The eldest son, Shen Wuzhuo, turned a deaf ear with a resolute face as he read the paper report in his hand. Haven't the people in the imperial court finished the measurement yet? It's a mere red soil territory, does it take so long to measure? Shen Wuzhuo asked. Not yet. The officials of the court said that he fell ill because of the soil and water, so the measurement time should be postponed. The staff next to him said, eldest son, you can leave this matter to General Wu Sik, and you secretly go to Zhenhai City, don't be passive. Idiot, that's the only way to fall into the enemy's plan. Shen Wuzhuo said, I don't believe anything unless my father writes a letter in person. The order goes on, don't wait. Our army will immediately set off to occupy the red soil territory. The staff said, but, that's not the territory of our Shen Gong family, it's still being measured. Our army is stationed, it doesn't make sense, and it will be taken down. Shen Wuzhuo said, I'm afraid, don't do anything well. There is no reason to station troops? Can't you find one? Let's say that the army of Dalguo pretended to be bandits and occupied the red soil territory, and our army went there. Bandits? As for how those bandits got here, do you need me to teach you? The aide shook his head and said, no need, I'll do it right away. Rumors in Zhenhai City about Shen Gongao's critical illness intensified. However, Shen Gongao didn't appear publicly for several days, and the defense of the Marquis mansion was obviously much stricter. The key is that many big figures have come to visit the Marquis mansion one after another. Including the prefect of Nanhai County, the dean of Zhenhai College, the retainers of the Mi family, etc., went to visit Shen Gongao, but they all ate behind closed doors. The lady who received them was Mu Hongyu, who said that Shen Gongao was in retreat and practiced, and it was not suitable to see guests. All the signs are proving that rumors are not rumors. Therefore, the rumors at this time were not that Shen Gongao was seriously ill, but that he had died of illness. What followed was the measurement work of the frontline Imperial Court Working Group, which was completely stagnant, and the Imperial Court's army and the Shen Gong family's army had already produced friction and even fighting. If Shen Gongao does not appear again, the situation will be even more unfavorable. That is, at this critical juncture. The genius Dr. Lindea Miao is here. Tian Shui Academy, the chief master of the Medical Taoist Academy, and the first doctor in the south. Wearing a white cloak, he secretly entered the marquee mansion of Zhenhai to treat Shen Gongao. Lin Miao, he is 93 years old this year, but he looks like he is only in his 60s at most. His beard and hair were all white, but his face was like a peeled egg, smooth and rosy without any wrinkles. Looking at Shen Gongao on this bed, even though he was ill, he was still majestic and arrogant, and he was not angry and arrogant, and many pictures could not help but emerge in Lin Miao's mind. Shen Gongao was invincible, killing countless scenes, blood splattered everywhere, and people's heads flying. "Stay safe, Master Lin Miao," Shen Gongao said. "I didn't expect to meet again, but it's on such an occasion." Mu Hongyu next to him stepped forward and gave a salute. "Master Lin Miao, I have offended you a lot before, please forgive me. The people I managed to cure, you all killed them at will." Lin Miao said, "Although I don't like Lord Marquis, I will still do my best." After all, Lin Miao stepped forward to check on Shen Gongao's body. Everyone around held their breath, especially the three doctors, who looked at Lin Miao with anticipation and admiration. In the eyes of everyone, if someone can cure Shen Gongao, there is no doubt that it is the master Lin Miao in front of him. Time passed minute by minute. A full quarter of an hour passed. Master Lin Miao took out the silver needle and stabbed it on several acupoints of Shen Gongao, and then turned it gently. For a while, Shen Gongao's right leg moved, twitched slightly, and his knee bent and popped out. Everyone around was overjoyed, and Shen Gongao said, "I actually have feeling in my right leg. In the past few days, my right leg has been numb and I have no feeling. You really deserve to be a genius doctor." A doctor next to him said, "Master, we checked the whole body of Lord Ho, and found that he was very healthy, but his right leg was paralyzed. And every less than a day, he would suddenly feel dizzy. It's amazing. Now, the disciple has absolutely no idea why. And he has no idea what kind of disease he has." Mu Hongyu said, "And after each attack, the symptoms of paralysis will get worse." Lin Miao said, "The human brain controls all parts of the body. Lord Marquis, this is a disease of the brain. If your right leg is paralyzed, it means that the left brain has a disease." Mu Hongyu said, "What disease is this?" Lin Miao said, "Brain wind." Mu Hongyu said, "Can this disease be cured?" Lin Miao said, "About this disease, there are 5 cases recorded in Tian Shui Academy's Medical Dao Institute, and none of them can be cured." Mu Hongyu said, "Master Lin, we are willing to pay any price." Lin Miao said, "As long as the hearts of doctors and parents can be cured, of course I will do my best. However, Mr. Marquis's illness cannot be cured by medicine. Please forgive the old man's inability and leave." After all, he was about to turn around and walk away. Immediately, Mu Hongyu and everyone present became desperate. Lin Miao is the #1 genius doctor in the south and the master of Tian Shui Medical Taoist Institute. Even if he can't cure it, it is really an incurable disease. Lin Miao didn't stop at all and walked towards the door. Because he knew that if he didn't leave, he might not be able to leave. Shen Gongao was extremely domineering, and he dared to kill anyone. Although Lin Miao's status is precious, and no one dares to kill him in the entire south, Shen Gongao may not be able to take action if it is a matter of great importance. "Sure enough," Mu Hongyu said, "Slow." Then, she waved her hand. Suddenly, several figures suddenly appeared, blocking Lin Miao's way. Lin Miao said, "I will keep it a secret, but if you really don't trust me, then silence me." He didn't even make a single threat. Shen Gongao looked at Lin Miao for a long time, then waved his hand and said, "I believe, let Master Lin leave." A few shadows got out of the way, and Lin Miao disappeared. Mu Hongyu's body was cold, and even Lin Miao couldn't cure it. It seemed that there was really no hope. After a long while, he trembled and said, "Husband, but, do you want the eldest and the second to come back? Shen Gong'ao's face was pale and his breathing was short. If it really can't be cured, the body will deteriorate with each attack. In this case, I really had to make plans early and call my 2 sons back in case of an accident. At least how should the Shen Gong family's crisis be overcome? As soon as he falls, the Shen Gong family will really be wiped out. And right now, Shen Gong'ao suddenly trembled, and his brain suffered a sharp pain. Here again. It happened again. Dizzy and dizzy, the world is spinning. She tried her best to close her eyes, but it was completely useless. Terrible epilepsy. The whole body twitched wildly. All kinds of bending and twisting, completely uncontrollable. Mu Hongyu stepped forward and desperately hugged her husband to maintain his dignity. A few doctors rushed forward, but they were completely helpless and didn't know how to treat it. Shen Gong'ao roared in his heart, God, if you think I kill too much, you will simply accept me and let me die violently. Why do you torture me so much? And what's even more terrifying is that in this painful twitching and twisting, he felt that his entire right half of his body was completely paralyzed and completely lost consciousness. Before, it was only the right leg, but now the entire right half of the body is paralyzed. At this moment, Abu's voice came from outside. Master, the third young master Wuqi has forced his way here, do you want to stop him? Note, the second one will be sent, please ask for the monthly pass of Dukangong, ask for the recommendation ticket, give it to me. Mu Hongyu said angrily, what is that shameful thing doing? Shoot it out, shoot it out. Shen Wuqi was not Mu Hongyu's own biological son, and he had no success before, and lost the family of Shen Gong, so Mu Hongyu especially disliked it. Usually, Mu Hongyu can still maintain restraint and politeness. But now he is in a hurry, his 5 internal organs are burning, and he wants to kill people like crazy to share the pain of his husband, but Shen Wuqi is going to break in at this time, how can she not be angry? Abu said, the third young master said that he can cure the duke's illness. Mu Hongyu hissed, what is the time, he is still talking nonsense, tearing his mouth. Drive him away, if he doesn't obey, just throw it out. Slow. Just after Mu Hongyu finished speaking, she shouted again. Although he didn't believe that Shen Wuqi, a shameful thing, could cure Shen Gong'ao, but at this time, even if there was a million chance, she was unwilling to let it go. Her husband, Shen Gong'ao, is her god. Let him in. Mu Hongyu said. After a while, Shen Wuqi appeared in the room and saw Shen Gong'ao who was having an epileptic seizure. The situation looks very serious. Bang! The incomparably sturdy bed couldn't bear Shen Gong'ao's convulsions at all, so it collapsed and shattered. Shen Wuqi narrowed his eyes, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Mu Hongyu, however, thought Wu Kei was because father and son were connected by blood and blood. Seeing Shen Gong'ao's condition, he was in unbearable pain. Mu Hongyu said, Wu Kei, can you cure it? Shen Wuqi said, yes, I can cure it. The doctor next to him said, third young master, Master Lindea Miao has just been here, and he is helpless. The meaning is very clear. Lindea Miao is the #1 genius doctor in the south, and he can't cure it. You didn't study medicine before applying for Wuqi, so how can you cure it? Are you more powerful than Master Lindea Miao? Really slander. At this moment, Mu Hongyu couldn't care less about Shen Wuqi, and hugged her husband's body tightly to prevent him from twitching and twisting. Even her own body, especially her legs, was trembling slightly. A full half an hour later, Shen Gong'ao stopped, his body was cold and sweat was like rain. After a good while, he said hoarsely, half of the body is unconscious, paralyzed. A top-level powerhouse, a powerful commander, half of his body is unconscious, how terrible. Shen Gong'ao said hoarsely, Shen Wuqi, you said you can cure it, then do you know what my disease is? Immediately, several doctors present looked at him. After all, they hadn't even diagnosed the disease before. Wu Kei said, "You are not sick, but a worm has grown in your brain, it may be nearly a foot long." Mu Hongyu said, "Nonsense, Master Lindea Miao said it was brain wind." The doctor next to him said, "There are worms in the brain? We have practiced medicine for many years, and we have never seen or heard of it." Shen Yukui said, "It's up to you to believe it or not, it's up to you to cure it or not." Shen Gongao said, "How to cure it? How to cure it?" Wu Kei said, "Open a hole in your head to get the bugs out." Mu Hongyu's face changed. "Wu Kei, are you treating a disease or killing someone? I've never heard of it, you open your brain to treat a disease." The doctor next to him said, "How fragile is the human brain? How can it be opened? Ordinary brains are cut with a knife, and if they are shot with an arrow, they will die, not to mention speaking directly, which is unheard of in ancient times." Shen Gongao looked at Wu Kei and said hoarsely, "Thirdest son, you hate me so much? You even want to kill me at the expense of dying with me." Shen Gongao was heartbroken when he said this. "You can die, but not now. After I completely take away your family's foundation, you will die." Wu Kei said, "I still say that, it's up to you to cure or not. I'm just doing my duty as a son. Although our father and son are not in harmony, but when I heard about your illness, I traveled thousands of miles to come back, and I did my best." Then, Wu Kei said, "Let me ask again, will it be cured?" No one answered. Wu Kei said, "Farewell. Then, just turn around and walk away." Suddenly, Mu Hongyu said, "There is no shortage, so what if it can't be cured? Or something happens during the treatment, so what?" Wu Kei said, "I will die." Shen Gongao closed his eyes for a long time, then opened them and said, "I'll treat it." Then, he said to Mu Hongyu, "Madam, even if he can't be cured, or even kill me, don't hurt him, just let him go." Then, he said hoarsely, "My son, if you hate me so much and want to take my life, then, let him take it." With these words, Shen Gongao seemed to be a little emotional. But Wu Kei remained expressionless, instead he opened the box and took out his tools. From high-strength alcohol to specialized saws and even hand drills. Shen Gongao was lucky, he didn't need to open his skull, so he didn't need a saw, but he needed a drill to make a hole in the skull. Seeing all this, several doctors were stunned. Marquis really wants the third son to take care of it, why is there a worm in his head, completely unheard of? Gamble with your own life? Wu Kei took out a bottle of something and said, "This is the powerful numbing powder I extracted. After drinking it, you will fall asleep and feel no pain. Do you want to use it?" Shen Gongao said, "No need." Row. Next, Wu Kei began to treat Shen Gongao. "Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Open your eyes." This time, when he was condensing the skin of the corpse, he extracted the ability from the corpse of an elderly woman. This woman is actually a Threed celestial master of the earth vessel. The principle is to be able to see through thick obstacles, and different substances show different colors and rays of light in his eyes. Of course, if Wu Kei had never been a doctor, he would not be able to understand the human body structure in this field of vision. Because it is completely layered, different rays of light. But, how many movies has he read on Earth? Therefore, it was clearly seen that in the left brain of Shen Gongao, there was a 1-foot-long sparganus. Spargan is a bug. It is actually not much different from the structure of the brain. Even in the field of vision of the open sky, the difference is very small, especially when it is quiet, it cannot be seen at all. However, when Shen Gongao had an attack, it was actually the sparkus that was violently moving in his brain. At this time, Wu Kei can see its existence and accurately determine his position. This time, opening the eyes of the sky is just to confirm its position once again. Wu Kei took out the razor and shaved the part of Shen Gong'ao's hair. Then take out the pen, draw a cross on the smooth scalp, take out the knife and cut a cross in this part of the scalp. Several doctors have held their breath. Young Master Wuqi was so daring that he actually stabbed Shen Gong'ao on the head. During the whole process, Shen Gong'ao remained motionless. Next, a more terrifying picture appeared. Wu Kei took out a special drill and started drilling Shen Gong'ao's skull. And Shen Gong'ao's head was motionless, and he didn't even need someone to hold it down. Crack, click, click. The sound of drilling holes in the skull was especially clear and harsh. The surrounding doctors, Mu Hongyu, Abu, and the others, were truly stunned. Directly drill a hole in the head, is it a cure, or a murder? Exactly 10 minutes later, the drilling was completed. The mirror gathers the light. There is no shortage of words. Immediately, Abu and the others took out a few mirrors and lit many candles in the house. Using a mirror to reflect the light, it shines into the hole on the top of Shen Gong'ao's head. Not only did Wu Kei see it, but Mu Hongyu also clearly saw the layer of dura under the skull. He cut through this layer of dura without flaws, exposing the brain inside, a brain like tofu. This is the first time that several doctors have seen a living, complete brain, although only a small part. During the whole process, Shen Gong'ao remained motionless. Just now drilling a hole in his skull, how painful it was. Not only did he not understand, he didn't even make a sound. Really cool. At this moment, Wu Kei could see clearly that a thin sparganus was entangled in Shen Gong'ao's brain, with only a small head showing, most of which were still inside the brain. Wu Kei took out a special clip. Taking a deep breath, he inserted the slender clip into Shen Gong'ao's head. Next, I'm going to clip the worm out. This process is prone to accidents, or the worm will break inside. It will struggle desperately, causing you unprecedented pain, but for the success of the operation, you must not move. No gaps. I know. Shen Gong said. Wu Qiu's hand was very steady and descended slowly. Suddenly, he grabbed the head of the schizophrenia, and then pulled it out little by little. For a while, the splinter was struggling desperately. What? What? Unprecedented pain, unprecedented dizziness, unprecedented epilepsy. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. But Shen Gong'ao remembered the perfect words and used all his strength and will to control himself. Not moving at all. But the whole body was completely stiff to the extreme, as if it were about to explode in an instant. Unparalleled will. Unparalleled pain. The cold sweat on his body kept pouring out. Gritting his teeth, his mouth was full of blood. Grasping the edge of the bed with both hands, the extremely hard jade was directly crushed into powder. Wu Qiu's movements were still very steady and very slow, pulling the splinter out little by little. At this time, there was a voice in his heart, kill him. Killed Shen Gong'ao. Killing Shen Gong'ao at this time is almost the best chance. However, Shen Gong'ao was only the first enemy, not even the biggest enemy. Wu Kei wants to kill all the scandals and find all the secrets of his family's demise. He also wants to restore the family business. Shen Gong's family is an indispensable springboard. He needs to use Shen Gong'ao's hand to seize Shen Gong's family territory and army. After killing Shen Gong'ao, Wu Kei is almost certain to die. Without the territory and army of the Shen Gong family, how could he take revenge? How does he restore the family business? So, he quickly calmed down. Little by little, he pulled out the 1-foot-long schizophrenia. Pull out all. Directly into the water. This schizophrenia is still twisting and swimming. A full foot or 2 inches long. Mu Hongyu was stunned, as were the 3 doctors around him. Note, the first one will be sent. Can you give me the monthly pass of grace? Give me a recommendation ticket. Turns out, there really is a worm in the brain, and it's so long. Next, he cleaned Shen Gong'ao's brain with pure salt water, and drained the salt water out. Next, the subdural wound on Shen Gong'ao's brain was sutured with a special crochet needle. Finally, Shen Gong'ao's scalp was sutured and then bandaged. These medicines, decocted 1 packet a day and drank 3 times a day, can prevent wound inflammation. Wu Kei said, "The treatment is completed." Hearing that the treatment is complete, Shen Gong'ao suddenly let out a roar. Then, he gasped for breath. The whole process just now was really painful. Immediately after, he instinctively wanted to get up, propped it up with his right hand, and exerted force on both legs. So, he sat up abruptly. Then, he was immediately stunned. He couldn't help raising his right hand. Still very paralyzed and not very controlled. But at least he can move, and he has a certain awareness. He suddenly gathered his inner strength, and it was unimpeded. I patted my right leg, and I'm not unconscious. Even the right leg can use a little force. Immediately, he was extremely ecstatic. His entire right leg was paralyzed for several days. Just now, his right hand also lost consciousness, completely unable to move. But now, after regaining consciousness, I can exert force. Wu Kei said indifferently, "This sparkus is too long, and it compresses part of the nerves of your left brain, paralyzing your right half of your body. Although the worm was pulled out, your cranial nerves are damaged to a certain extent, and it will take a while. Time to fully recover." Shen Gong'ao gritted his teeth suddenly and stood up straight. Then, he paced the room. Although a little lame, the right leg has regained the ability to move. Everyone around was stunned, watching all this in disbelief. This is also amazing. Lin Miao, the first genius doctor in the south, said that this is an incurable disease that cannot be cured. In the end, young Master Shen Wuqi was completely cured in less than half an hour. And this kind of treatment is really unseen and unheard of. I haven't seen you for 8 years, and the third son actually learned such a brilliant medical skill outside? This kind of medical skills is really amazing and unbelievable. Immediately, the 3 doctors stepped forward and bowed. "Young Master San, you are truly a genius doctor." The 3 of us worshipped and fell to the ground. Immediately afterwards, another doctor kowtowed directly and said, "Third young master, thank you for your life-saving grace. From now on, you will be our reborn parent." This is true at all. If Shen Gong'ao can't treat him well, these 3 doctors will die. And Mu Hongya was trembling with excitement, and the ecstasy in her heart was beyond words. Her husband was healed. Her Optimus pillar will not fall. The crisis in the Shen Gong family was immediately lifted. Great, great! And what saved all this was the shame of the former Shen Gong clan. Mu Hongyu stepped forward, embraced Wuqi in his arms, and said tremblingly, "Wuqi, thank you for my mother, thank you." At this time, she burst into tears. Then, holding her flawless face, she said, "In these years, you have suffered outside." At this time, there was another sound from outside. Master Fu Jianzi came to visit and brought 3 doctors with him. They are very tough, and it is very difficult for us to stop them. Shen Gong'ao said coldly, "He finally went out to see if I was really paralyzed. There were people who kept coming to visit before, the prefect of Nanhai County, the dean of Zhenhai Academy, etc., but their identities could not be forced. Fu Jianzi, the governor of Tianshui province, never came out. This time he must be sure that Shen Gong'ao is paralyzed and completely dead, so he forcibly broke into the marquee mansion. Once it was confirmed that Shen Gong'ao was completely paralyzed, there was no cure. Then the attacks of the surrounding dignitaries will be used in the tide, directly knocking down the Shen Gong family to the ground, and completely dividing up the Shen Gong family's foundation. Without him. In recent years, Shen Gong'ao has been too popular, too dazzling, and has offended too many people. Moreover, Every man is innocent and guilty, with the territory of 15,000 square kilometers, who is not jealous. The most important thing is that the Shengong family is not an old-fashioned noble family, but a naturalized alien without a foundation. As long as it is confirmed that Shengong Ao is paralyzed and dead, it will send a signal to attack. From military to political offensive. After all, Fu Jianzi was the governor of Tianshui province and the official of the empire. The momentum is amazing, and he broke in the name of helping Shengong Ao's treatment, which is completely unstoppable. Bang! The door slammed open. Fu Jianzi walked in. Then, he was completely shocked. Because Shengong Ao was standing in the hall intact, wearing a mighty and domineering marquis python robe and a golden crown on his head. The whole body exudes a strong aura. What happened? According to his information, Shengong Ao was completely paralyzed and died. Lin Miao, the first genius doctor in the south, couldn't cure it, so he just left. That is the Grand Master of Tianshui Hospital. He can't cure the disease, so it must be over. That's why, Fu Jianzi decided to force his way into the Marquis mansion, because there were many forces waiting for his signal. Many political resources have been prepared. Now Shengong Ao is standing here intact? How is this possible? No, he must be pretending. Because, standing motionless. But at this time, Shengong Ao stepped forward and said, "Brother Fu, why are you here?" Immediately, Fu Jianzi's heart trembled. Shengong Ao walked and handed over. He wasn't paralyzed at all, he was walking like a tiger, and his momentum was overwhelming. Fu Jiansheng took a few steps forward and embraced Shengong Ao. "Brother Shen, you scared me to death, you scared my brother to death." Yuyuganshu www.yuyuganshu.com. Do you know what the rumors are going on outside? I couldn't help it anymore, so I brought 3 famous doctors to visit you, and even forced your way into your marquis mansion, so please don't blame me. Shengong Ao said, "Where, I can't be grateful for Brother Jian's kindness." Fu Jianzi said, 3, don't hurry up and check the body of Lord Marquis. Shengong Ao opened his arms and said, "It's time to work." The 3 doctors brought by Fu Jianzi stepped forward and carefully examined the body of Shengong Ao. After a good while, the 3 doctors said tremblingly, "Sir Marquis, very, very healthy." Fu Jianzi was stunned. Why is he still very healthy? Was it 100% sure that half of his body was paralyzed? Lin Miao can't be cured. Even if an immortal descended to earth to treat Shengong Ao, it wouldn't be so fast, right? Even if such a serious illness can be cured, it will take a year and a half. Shengong Ao said, "Brother Fu is relieved." Fu Jianzi patted his chest and said, "I've finally lost my mind now. Brother Shen can't be so scary anymore. My brother's body is weak, but I can't stand your fright." Then, the 2 of them chatted happily. Then, when Fu Jianzi saw Wu Kei, he couldn't help but stunned and said, "Are you here, nephew?" Okay, let me just say, how can there be an overnight feud between father and son? Stay with us for dinner, okay? Chat. Wu Kei raised his eyes, glanced at the 2 of them, and did not answer half a word, looking particularly aloof and arrogant. Then, he cupped his hands towards the 2 of them and said, "Farewell." Having said that, he was about to walk away with the box on his back. Note, the second update is coming. Brothers, do you still have monthly tickets? Do you still have recommended tickets? Thank you.